Auckland FC will have to wait yet another week to claim that regular season premiers play in the A-League men's competition. Despite them doing the job they needed to do by beating Melbourne Victory in Melbourne 2-0 last night, they needed Western Sydney Wanderers to do them a massive favour and beat Melbourne City, who sit in second, to beat them in Sydney last night. But that didn't happen. Despite the Wanderers leading, Melbourne City scoring that late penalty to get a 2-2 draw, get the point they needed, and of course 6 points off, and of course with a few games left, they can still, I guess, realistically claim the Premier's place. Auckland FC will have to wait another week, despite that 2-0 win over Melbourne Victory. They scored 2 goals in the second half, and what was actually a pretty tight game between these two teams, of course with Victory sitting in the top 6, and realistically needing a result because their top 6 hopes are very much still on in the balance. There's only a few points between, 4th to 6th, and even 7th is very much in that closing distance as well. But for Auckland FC, they've got the job done, and of course sit 6 points clear at the top of the table with only 2 regular season games left in the 2024-25 A-League men campaign. But I'm Nick from Nickn'detail, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Melbourne Victory Auckland FC game, which took place in Melbourne last night. So let's get into it. That's right, Auckland FC fans, you're going to have to wait another week. I know when we thought Auckland FC, after what has been a great season for the newest A-League team, but unfortunately they couldn't get the result they needed. They got the win, yes, they got the result they wanted, but they really needed Western Sydney Wanderers to do them that favour and get that win, but they didn't do that, unfortunately. So another week where, of course, another 3 points will be needed for Auckland FC to all but secure, I should say, rather, that A-League men's premiers plate, which will be a great season for the new Auckland, the new Auckland-based team. But they got the job done last night. They beat Melbourne Victory 2-0 thanks to 2 second-half goals and, of course, 6 points clear at the top of the table. So let's get my thoughts on this game. This was a great game. This was a game that actually was very closely matched in that first half. Like, you probably couldn't tell based on it being goalless at halftime which way this game was going to go. We've seen Melbourne Victory actually look pretty good this season so far. Yes, they sit 5th. It's probably not where you want to be realistically with the team and, the reputation they have, but they were able to keep Auckland FC out. They were able to create their chances. Auckland FC were able to do that too, but we've kind of seen this from Auckland FC this season. They've always been a little bit slow in that first half. Like, they've created chances, they've looked good, but we've not really actually seen them execute much goals in that first half, realistically across the season we've had so far. But the second half, which we saw in this game last night, they were really able to really turn things up. They scored, actually, to be honest, 2 really soft goals, but they were still goals that, of course, in the sport, goals count, and they very much did that. They got the deserved win. They, even though this game was tightly matched in that second half, they took most of their chances. And I guess for Auckland FC, you've got to really give kudos to their keeper Alex Paulson, who absolutely just kept Melbourne Victory out of bay. And of course, imagine, at 1-0, if you conceded that goal, which he made that brilliant save, which you haven't seen, you probably should see it, because it was a save that realistically no other keeper could make. But had that gone in, could we have seen this game change? Maybe could we have seen, the game just slightly, could we have seen Auckland even score that second goal? I don't know, and of course, obviously, we're not going to find out, but certainly Alex Paulson was the main reason why Auckland FC were able to get this win, and were very much, as I said, able to take their chances, and of course, fair play to Auckland FC. They did what they needed to do last night and get that win, but can we see them back it up in this week's game, what will be the, of course, the penultimate game of the regular season? Of course, we'll have to find out, but for Auckland FC, they controlled the game well, they created their chances, they took their chances really well too, and got a well-deserved 3 points out of that game as well. Of course, Melbourne Victory, Amy Park, not the easiest of places to go, but they got what they needed to do, and of course, with 2 games left in the season, it looks like they are very much in that driving seat, in that pilot seat, to get their first regular season title, and what is only their first season as well, which is quite some feat from the A-League's newest side. So who was my standout player? Well, I've already mentioned him like twice in like a couple of sentences. Alex Paulson is my standout player. What a great performance from the keeper on loan from AFC Bournemouth in England. He was absolutely essential to Auckland FC, keeping that clean sheet, but also just keeping Melbourne Victory out. Just was able to once again come up with some big saves where he needed to. This guy, to be honest, actually didn't even do anything in this game. Like, it was that kind of game where he didn't really have much to do. Just had to make a couple of collections, just have a couple of moments from out the back there. But in terms of actual saves and actual involvement in the game, he actually didn't really have to do much. So, and I guess realistically, from a keeper perspective, when that sort of stuff happens, happens when you're having those quiet games. It's really easy just to drop off, lose mindset, and very much just let the goals come in. But he did very well just to stay focused, stay consistent, and make that big save, particularly right at the end, of course, from that header with about 20 minutes to go. What could have very much changed the game had that found its way into the back of the net. But fair play to Alex Paulsen, showing why he's very much the best keeper on the side of the world at the moment, in my opinion. And yes, getting a very much well-deserved clean sheet, and of course for Auckland FC, a well-deserved win for them. So Auckland's Alex Paulsen is my standout player. Great performance from the young New Zealand goalkeeper. So what's next for Auckland FC? Well, they're back at home to take on Perth Glory. Now, Perth Glory were actually only one of two teams that have beaten Auckland FC this season. In fact, the first team to beat Auckland FC this season, where they upset them 1-0 in Perth very much early on in the season. But don't expect Perth Glory to do it again. This is Auckland FC at home. They've only lost that one game, of course, to West United at home this season, and they've really made Mount Smart their fortress in this 2024-25 campaign. So for Perth Glory, this won't be an easy game, but don't expect Auckland FC just to absolutely wipe the floor clean with Perth Glory. Yes, Auckland FC need to win this game to get the Premier's play in front of that home crowd. That's going to be an absolute dream for them. They're going to be very inspired to do so. But Perth Glory, they're bottom of the table. You've got one team, Auckland FC, at the top of the table, very much setting the bar high this season. And of course, you've got Perth Glory down the bottom of the table and really much lacking as they did last season as well. But don't expect Perth Glory to just hand Auckland FC a win and the Premier's play. They're going to put up a fight here, and they'll be very much inspired that they've already beaten this team this season, as only one or two teams to have beaten Auckland FC this season. But that should be an interesting game in Auckland for this week for Auckland FC. Can they get their Premier's plate in their first season, or can Perth Glory make it back-to-back wins over the new A-League team this year? Well, of course, it's all going to find out. We're all going to find out this weekend. That's going to be it for me. Yes, despite my 2-0 scoreline, realistically, this game was actually quite a closely tight match. Auckland FC, in my opinion, did deserve the win. Big props to them. They, of course, did what they needed to do. Melbourne Victory as well. I think with that performance, they can show they very much should be in that top 6. There's only like a 5-point gap between them and 7th place, only a few points between them and 6th place. So, of course, their place in the top 6 is very much not secured for a couple of games left. But I certainly believe Melbourne Victory are going to be in that top 6 for the, of course, the A-League finals. But, of course, that performance very much, of course, wouldn't have been what they wanted. But, of course, with a couple games left in the season, I certainly believe they will be in that top 6, which, of course, only 2 regular games left in the season. They should be in that top 6. That's going to be it for me, and until next time, I'll see you later.